Hey everyone, I'd just like to give you a quick heads up on some new changes that have come to Google Sheets, some new updates that have been made so you can now work with some of your data a little bit differently, as well as working with charts just a little bit easier. So what I'm going to do is just demonstrate those as opposed to just talking about all of them. So what we have on my screen right now is basically just a simple grab of some data, which is some stock prices. And what I want to do is I just want to take a snapshot of the last 10 days of the month of March and what happened with those stock prices. So I've grabbed my 10 dates and I've grabbed my 10 closing prices for those stocks. Now what I'm going to do is just go to the upper right corner of my screen and click on Insert Chart. And from there, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select a line chart to start off with because there's a new little bit of customization that we can do there that I'd like to show you. I'm going to go up to customization and I'm just going to put in a different title here and I'm just going to paste in some information I grabbed and I'm going to go ahead and click Insert. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move my chart up a little bit to the right here and we'll just move the screen up. And I'm going to make this chart just a little bit bigger here because I want everybody to be able to see exactly what I'm going to do. Now, one of the things that you have the option of doing within your chart itself is by clicking in there, you notice that you have the quick editor feature that will pop up here. And we've got all the different things that we can do with our quick editor of changing color. And with that area there, we can move and resize, fit to area, those different things with the grid lines and the grid lines that you have for the different axes. Now, one of the things that has been added to your Google Charts is you have a new way of adding data labels, and we can choose different shapes and symbols for data points in both line and scatter charts. And if we're using a bar chart, we can actually use a value label on each of the bars. So I'm going to try and demonstrate both here. So the first thing that we have is just a simple line chart. I'm just going to click on the line. You'll notice it'll bring up a little menu here, and one of the icons that we can click on is the point style. Now I can choose the size that I would like here, and let's say I want to have it to be 10 point, and then I can also go back to that same little button and I can choose the shape. So instead of just being stuck with just points, I could go ahead and use squares, diamond, triangles. I can even get fancy schmancy and use stars. So now I can go ahead and play with the different things that I have here and make that data look just that little bit different with those line and scatter charts. Now let's say, for example, I want to go ahead and change this up. I'm going to go back to my advanced editor, and instead of this being a line chart, I'm going to go back to chart types and I want to do a combo chart, which is basically going to be a bar chart here. So I'm going to use my bar chart and I'm just going to go ahead and click on update. And one of the other features that's now been added to your charts is not only shapes and symbols for those data points, but with data labels, you can now put exact values of those bars and points in those charts. So if I go to my chart now and click on my bar, I can click on that same bar there. You'll notice that same icon pops up, or little menu pops up here where our point value was. And we can go all the way over to the right where we have a data label icon now. And if I click on that, right now I'm set at none, and this time what I want to do is click on value. If I click on value, you'll see at the very top of each bar it'll actually put the stock price of each day that I've selected at the top of that bar. So very quick and easy to see that different information. So now that we've shown you some different things that you can do with charts, I'm just going to go back up to my chart here and I'm going to actually delete this chart and show you some other things that we can do. Now we also have some other options to work with our data, and some of the cool things that have been added to your Google Sheets is that you can now do filtering of rows and columns by conditions, including less than, greater than, text contains, date after, and much more. As well as we can also preview results of a formula, including any formula errors instantly as you type, kind of like a type ahead, read ahead feature. And I think that's actually pretty cool. And then you can also use a new function that's been added, which is called get pivot data function, to retrieve data from a pivot table.